What would you do if you discovered the two people you trusted most were lying to you, and the proof was in your hand just hours before you were supposed to pledge your life to one of them? This isn't a hypothetical question. This is the story of my wedding day. If you think you've heard stories of ultimate betrayal, wait until you hear this one. When I found the night before I was set to marry the woman of my dreams shattered my entire reality. But what I did about it, that's the part that changed everything. If you're ready for a story of cold, calculated revenge and the power of the truth, smash that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it. My name is Alex Carter. For 34 years, my life was a study in order and predictability, a trait I honed working as a lead architectural designer for a prestigious firm in downtown Seattle. My world was one of precise lines, calculated load-bearing weights, and flawless blueprints. I believed people, like structures, could be understood through their visible frameworks. I was wrong. My salary was substantial, allowing me a comfortable life in a renovated loft in Belltown with panoramic views of the Puget Sound. But my real wealth was my family. My father, Charles Carter, was a pillar of our community. At 62, he was a respected finance broker, a man whose handshake was considered binding. He and my mother, Diane, had been married for 38 years. Their relationship was my blueprint for love, steady, strong, and seemingly unshakable. Charles was the man who taught me how to throw a spiral, change a tire, and that a man's reputation was his most valuable asset. Then there was Olivia Reed. She was a vision of everything I thought I wanted. At 31, she was a talented interior designer, her aesthetic the perfect complementary counterpoint to my own architectural rigor. I was sold within a month. She fit into my life like a final, perfect piece of a complex puzzle. She adored my parents, and they adored her right back. My mother would often whisper to me, "Don't you let that one get away, Alex. She's a keeper."
Our wedding was to be the crowning achievement of my meticulously planned life. A Saturday in June at the historic Trinity Parish Church, followed by a reception at the Museum of Glass in Tacoma with its stunning Chihuly Bridge of Glass. 180 guests. I designed the ring myself. My best man was my older brother, Matt, my constant ally since childhood. Olivia's cousin, Sophia, was her maid of honor. We had reservations at Conless for the rehearsal dinner and 2 first-class tickets to Bora Bora for our honeymoon. Every detail was perfect. Every line was straight. Or so I believed. The night before the wedding, I was at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel with my father. It was our tradition before big life events, just the two of us. We'd ordered steaks, and he was helping me finalize the seating chart, a complex diplomatic exercise involving divorced aunts and feuding college friends. "Put your great-aunt Maureen next to your cousin Pete," he advised, sipping a glass of single malt. "He's the only one who can handle her opinions on modern art." He chuckled, and I felt a surge of gratitude for this man, for his wisdom, for his presence. Around 10:45 p.m., his phone buzzed on the table. He excused himself to take a call from a client with a time zone crisis, leaving his device face up beside his half-empty glass. I wasn't snooping. My eyes, trained to notice minute discrepancies in design schematics, simply registered the movement. A notification flashed on the screen. It was from Olivia, sent just moments ago. The preview text was a gut punch in 12-point font. "Thinking about last night. Your hands on me. I can't focus on anything else. This secret is gonna kill me and excite me. Until tomorrow." The world didn't just slow down, it fractured. The ambient noise of the hotel room, the hum of the AC, the distant murmur of the city vanished, replaced by a high-pitched ringing in my ears. My hand, holding a glass of water, was perfectly steady. A strange, clinical calm descended upon me. This was a critical structural failure. Emotion was a liability. Data was required. With methodical precision, I picked up his phone. The passcode was my parents' anniversary, a detail that now felt like a sick joke. I opened the message thread. It was a catalog of betrayal. Months of messages, pet names I didn't recognize, intimate photos I wish I could unsee. References to business trips to Portland that coincided with Olivia's design conferences. A photo from the previous night, time-stamped 11:53 p.m., showed them together in a hotel room bar, her laughing, her head on his shoulder. It was taken while I was at my bachelor party at a Mariners game, clinking glasses with my friends, toasting to my future with the woman in this very picture, who was toasting her secret with my father. The deception was breathtaking in its audacity. They hadn't stumbled into a moment of weakness. They had built an entire secret life, a hidden annex to my own, with its own timeline and rituals. They had looked me in the eye, hugged me, planned my wedding with me, all while sharing this vile secret. I heard the bathroom door handle turn. Moving with an automaton's efficiency, I placed the phone back exactly as it was, the screen angled just so. My heart was a trip hammer against my ribs, but my face was a placid mask. My father, Charles, returned, his smile easy. Crisis averted. Now, where were we? Right, Aunt Maureen. I looked at him, at the laugh lines around his eyes I'd known since childhood, at the familiar way he held his glass, and I saw a stranger, a brilliantly constructed fraud. "You know what, Dad?" I said, my voice even, devoid of the tremor raging inside me. "I'm beat. The jet lag from all that travel must be getting to me. I think I need to call it a night." He clapped me on the shoulder, the gesture now feeling like a violation. "Get some rest, son. Tomorrow is the first day of the rest of your life." The irony was so thick I could taste it, metallic and bitter on my tongue. The moment the door clicked shut behind him, the calm shattered. I slid down the wall onto the floor, the weight of it all crushing me. The grief wasn't just for Olivia, for the future I'd lost. It was for my father. The man I thought he was just died, and I was the only one at the funeral. But from the ashes of that grief, a cold, hard resolve began to form. They thought they were smart. They thought their secret was safe. They thought I would walk down that aisle a happy, oblivious fool, and they would continue their sordid little game right under my nose, under my mother's nose, forever. A raw, furious confrontation would give them what they wanted, a private drama they could eventually explain away, manipulate, and recover from. No. They had chosen a public stage for their deception. They would receive a public reckoning. I am an architectural designer. I don't demolish, I deconstruct. I take things apart with precision, understanding how every piece connects, and then I repurpose the materials into something new, something better. It was time to deconstruct their perfect lie. I worked through the night, a silent, furious specter in a 5-star hotel room. The pain was a physical thing, a knife twisting in my chest, but I used it. I channeled it into focus. First, evidence. I used my own phone to take crystal-clear photographs of every incriminating message, every photo, every timestamp on his phone. I documented it all, creating a digital dossier of their betrayal. I uploaded everything to a secure, private server I used for sensitive work projects. Next, delivery. I needed a way to disseminate the truth to everyone who mattered, all at once, in a way they could not ignore or dismiss. A speech would be he said, she said. A private email could be deleted. It had to be public. It had to be undeniable. It had to be elegant. An idea. cold and perfect, began to take shape. A QR code. Simple, modern, innocuous. Every guest would have a phone. Every guest would be curious. I would hand them the truth, and they would choose to see it. I accessed the hotel's business center. Using a simple web design tool, I created a stark, minimalist page. A black background. At the top, in elegant white text, it read, "The truth about today's wedding." Below, I uploaded the evidence in a clean, chronological scroll. The messages, the photos, the damning timestamps. I purchased an anonymous domain name that would redirect to this page, therealtoasts.com. I generated a QR code linked to the site. Then I designed a small, elegant card. On one side, the QR code. On the other, a simple, intriguing message. A special message from the groom. Scan to share your blessing for our future. It looked exactly like the kind of trendy, interactive wedding favor you'd expect from a designer couple. I printed 200 of them. My final call was to my attorney, Pamela Chen. It was 3:17 a.m. "Alex, this better be good," she answered, her voice rough with sleep but alert. "Pam, it's Alex. I need your help. The wedding is off." I laid it out for her in crisp, clinical terms. The discovery, the evidence, my plan. She was silent for a long moment. "Holy hell, Alex! I'm so sorry." Her lawyer brain kicked in. "What you're planning is legally sound. The information is yours, obtained from a device you had permission to use at that moment. You're sharing facts about your own life at your own event. It's brutal, but it's not illegal. Do you want me there?" "Yes," I said. "Be a guest. Observe. Document. If anything happens, I need a witness." "Sometimes," she said, her voice grim, "the truth isn't just a defense. It's the ultimate weapon." As dawn broke over the Seattle skyline, I looked at my reflection in the window. The man staring back was hollow-eyed but clear-gazed. I put on my custom-tailored Navy Zenith suit. I knotted my tie with steady hands. I was not going to my wedding. I was going to a demolition site. The church was a masterpiece of Gothic Revival architecture, a place I had always admired for its structural integrity. Today, it felt like a beautifully decorated tomb. My mother, Diane, was radiant in emerald green, her face glowing with happiness. She squeezed my arm. "My handsome boy, I'm so happy for you, Alex." The words were daggers. My father, Charles, was the picture of paternal pride, his arm around my mother, greeting guests with a booming, confident voice. The performance was Oscar-worthy.
Olivia arrived. Her gown was a breathtaking work of art, layers of silk and lace that must have taken hundreds of hours to create. She was the picture of blushing innocence. She took my hands, her eyes shining with what I now recognized as triumphant tears. "I can't believe it's finally here, Alex," she whispered. "Our forever." I smiled. It was the hardest architectural feat I'd ever accomplished. Neither can I. We took our places at the altar. My brother, Matt, stood beside me, grinning. "You ready for this, little brother?" he whispered. "More than you know," I replied softly. I spotted Pamela Chen seated near the back, a neutral expression on her face, her phone discreetly in her hand. The ceremony began. The organs swelled. The priest, Father Donovan, spoke about love, fidelity, and the sacred bonds of trust. The hypocrisy was so thick it was suffocating. As Father Donovan spoke, my quietly hired event assistant, a woman named Anna, began her work. Moving with the silent efficiency of a museum curator, she started at the back pews, handing the small, elegant cards to guests with a polite smile and a finger to her lips, as if it were a delightful secret. "From the groom,"
she'd murmur. I watched, my gaze flicking over the congregation. I saw my college roommate, Tim, scan his code. His amused curiosity morphed into wide-eyed shock. He elbowed his wife, showed her his phone. Her hand flew to her mouth. My Aunt Ruth scanned hers, her face crumbling in confusion and then dawning horror. She turned to my Uncle Ben, her eyes filled with panic. It was a virus of truth, spreading silently through the pews, a wave of rustling movement, followed by stifled gasps, sharp intakes of breath, and the low, urgent hum of whispers. The sanctity of the ceremony curdled into something else entirely, a collective, horrified revelation. My mother, sensing the shift in the room's energy, glanced around confused. A kind-faced stranger in the pew behind her, a friend of Pamela's I'd asked to sit there, gently tapped her shoulder and handed her a card, pointing to her own phone. My mother, smiling politely, pulled out her reading glasses and scanned the code.
I will remember the look on her face until the day I die. The light in her eyes didn't just dim, it was extinguished. The color drained from her cheeks, leaving her ashen. Her hands began to shake so violently she dropped her phone. She turned her head slowly, not to me, but to my father. The look she gave him wasn't just anger. It was a complete and utter obliteration of 38 years of shared life. He saw it, and he knew. He followed her gaze to the phone on the floor, the damning images clear on the screen. His own face went from confused irritation to abject, pants-pissing terror in a nanosecond. He looked at me. For the first time in my life, I saw pure, undiluted fear in my father's eyes. Olivia, still facing the priest, was oblivious, a smile playing on her lips. She was savoring her victory. Father Donovan, now visibly unsettled by the growing commotion, cleared his throat and arrived at the pivotal moment of the ceremony. And therefore, if any person can show just cause why this man and this woman may not lawfully be joined together, let them speak now or forever hold their peace. The church fell into a dead, waiting silence. Every eye was on me. I stepped forward. "I can," I said, my voice echoing clearly in the vaulted space. "I have just cause." I took the microphone from a stunned Father Donovan. Olivia whirled around, her smile finally vanishing, replaced by dawning confusion. She saw the faces of the guests. She saw the phones. She saw the horror and the pity. Her eyes found my father's panic-stricken face, and then snapped back to mine. The pieces clicked into place. Her expression collapsed into sheer, unadulterated terror. "I loved you, Olivia," I began, my voice calm, project manager calm. "I loved you with a faith that feels foolish to me now. And you, Charles." I didn't call him Dad, not ever again. "I respected you. I built my understanding of integrity on your example. It seems my foundation was flawed." I gestured to the congregation, to the phones they held like torches illuminating the truth. "What you see on your screens is the reality of the relationship between my fiancé and my father. A relationship they have been conducting in secret for months. A relationship they plan to continue even after the vows we were about to exchange today." The silence was absolute. You could hear the soft weep of my mother from the front row. They chose to make a mockery of this institution, of my family, and of me. So I thought it only fitting that their deception be revealed in the same forum they intended to use to complete it. This wedding is canceled. My relationship with both of you is terminated. The dam broke. Chaos erupted. Olivia let out a wail that was part shock, part fury. Charles shot to his feet, sputtering, "This is a lie, a malicious lie. He's photoshopped these." But it was too late. The evidence was too raw, too specific, too real. No one was listening to him. I didn't wait for the fallout. I handed the microphone back to a shell-shocked Father Donovan, nodded to my brother, whose face was a mask of stunned fury, and I walked. I walked down the aisle, through the gauntlet of stunned faces, out of the heavy oak doors, and into the bright, clean June air. I didn't look back. The silence outside the church was deafening. Then the doors burst open, and the sound of the chaos within spilled out. Olivia's hysterical sobbing, Charles's shouting, the deafening roar of 100 simultaneous conversations. My brother, Matt, was right behind me, grabbing my arm. "Alex, my God, I don't even know what to say," I said, my voice still eerily calm. "Just drive me home." The scandal didn't just spread, it exploded. In the age of social media, a story that juicy, with visual proof, is like gasoline on a fire. By that evening, #WeddingRevenge was trending regionally. By Monday, it was on gossip blogs and local news. The specific, brutal elegance of it, the QR code, the elegant cards, the public altar moment, captured the public's imagination. The professional consequences were immediate and severe. Olivia was let go from her design firm. Their brand was built on trust and taste. She was now the poster child for the opposite. Charles's world evaporated. Finance is a small world built on one currency, trust. He had none left. His partners ousted him. His clients fled. The empire he had spent 40 years building was dust in a day. My mother, Diane, moved in with me for 2 weeks. The strength she showed was humbling. After the initial shock and devastation, a steely resolve took hold. She filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and adultery. "I could have perhaps forgiven a mistake," she told me, her voice firm for the first time in weeks. "But not a campaign, not a conspiracy against my own son." Pamela Chen handled the legal disentanglement with brutal efficiency. Since no marriage license was signed, there was no divorce. We clawed back a significant portion of the wedding costs from vendors. My prenuptial agreement was irrelevant, but my assets were secure. I was free. I took a month of leave from work. My firm was incredibly supportive. My boss, a no-nonsense woman named Karen, simply said, "Anyone who can execute a plan that flawlessly under that kind of pressure has a future here anytime they want it." 3 months after the altar, I didn't want a future in Seattle anymore. The skyline, the sound, the memories, it was all tainted. An opportunity arose with a visionary sustainable architecture firm in Copenhagen. I took it. A new country, a new language, a new design philosophy, a clean slate. Before I left, Charles managed to get past my building security. He looked 20 years older, shrunken and defeated. "Alex, please," he begged, his voice broken. "I was a fool. I destroyed everything. I lost my wife, my son, everything. Please." I looked at the hollowed-out shell of the man I'd once idolized. I felt nothing but a distant, cold pity. "I don't hate you," I said, and it was the truth. "Hating you would mean you still have a place in my life. You don't. You made your choices. Live with them." I closed the door. It was the last time I ever saw him. I've been in Copenhagen for a year now. I'm dating a musician named Frasier. It's slow. It's careful. Trust is no longer a given. It's a carefully laid brick.
each one tested for integrity before I build on it. I heard through the grapevine that Olivia moved back to her hometown in Oregon. Charles is apparently working at a cut-rate brokerage in a suburb, a ghost of his former self. Their affair didn't survive the sunlight. It was a parasite that thrived in the dark and withered in the truth.
What I learned through all of this is that the most dangerous lies aren't the ones told by strangers. They're the ones told by the people we love, the ones woven into the very fabric of our reality. And the most powerful revenge isn't violence or screaming. It's simply the unassailable, undeniable truth, delivered with the same cold precision with which the lie was constructed. They tried to build a secret life on the foundation of my trust, so I deconstructed it. And from the rubble, I built a better, stronger, truer life for myself. Betrayal can feel like the end of the world, but sometimes it's just the destruction of a faulty blueprint making way for a much stronger design. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Could you have stayed back calm? Let me know in the comments below. If you appreciated the power of facing the truth, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories about rebuilding after life's earthquakes, and ring that notification bell so you don't miss what happens next. Thanks for listening.